Ready, break. Mikee Teasley in the house.
Sir.
I just want to go ahead and tell you, because you know how much I love you, because we have very similar energy, and I know how your brain works, as much as your dad wants to kill you half the time. Just so you know, I'm on your side with old Pops.
All right.
Even though I get on your ass a little bit too. But let's get uncomfortable and talk about some things that maybe I wouldn't talk about with other kids, just because I know not only how confident you are in yourself, but how real you are and how big of a heart you have and care for others. We're not going to get crazy, but I do want to talk to you about a few things that maybe I wouldn't be able to talk to other kids about. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that you, unlike the majority of kids in this town, have a ceiling that, is very rare. And that's a blessing from God. So, but at the same time, that comes with a lot of things that, as humbly as I can say, I understand. Because I've been you, and I've lived your life, and I didn't do things the right way, as I've told you in the past. So, anyways, Triple F, your future, get real about a couple things, and then just talk about what your goals are, why you love Triple F, talk about Jesus, and I'm glad that your hair is not blonde.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so tell the world about yourself a little bit, and then we'll get into it.
My name's Mikee Teasley. I go to Oak Ridge High School, play baseball for them, and yeah.
So how long? Great introduction. We'll work on that. So when you're a pro one day, you can get a podcast like the Kelsey brothers. So how long have you been playing baseball?
Since I was 3 years old.
When did you realize, all right, I'm better than most of the people around me?
I would say probably when I first started to work really hard was when I was 8. And that's when I realized that I had a high chance of doing great things. So I just decided to let my dad push me how he does, and that's what I did, and it's got me to good places right now. So.
And that's the thing, bud, is, you see it all the time. And baseball, once again, I don't need any hate mail out there. AAU basketball and open league, is that what it's still called? Open league, what's it called in the summers? Club baseball?
We just call it summer ball.
Summer ball, all right. So non-school ball, AAU basketball and non-school baseball are the parents that make me want to jump off a cliff the most, all right? And I don't spend much time on social media, but I can only imagine, the My Kid's a Hero posts that go on during those two sports, right? The problem is a lot of kids, when they're 8 years old and they're better than everybody else, and then everybody kisses their butt their whole life, and then everybody else catches up or passes them, that's hard on those kids. So it's very rare that a kid that's 8 years old that's the best player on the team, all of a sudden now, you 16 yet or are you still 15?
16.
So you're 16 years old. Golly, y'all are growing up on me, man. It's crazy. You drove down here?
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh. So now all of a sudden you're 16 and you're still, at a position that you were when you were 8. So that's a blessing from God, and you need to be thankful. I don't know enough about baseball, but I came out and watched the Powell Oak Ridge game last year. Your emotional regulation was completely seized up and gone, which I respect about you. Most elite players I've been around are half crazy and super emotional. I know that game was big. You grew up in Powell and blah, blah, blah. So we won't get into that. But it was fun to watch you, man, because I could tell how much you cared. Like you watch, whether it's Tom Brady in my world or you watch some of these baseball players, when it means that much to you, you can't control your emotions at times, and especially when you're young. So getting to watch you out there was fun for me. So at this point, I know Tennessee offered you. Mm-hmm. So at this point, a little bit like Brody, who lives with me, who's equally as wired right/wrong as me and you are, you'll play anywhere you want. So I'm not going to sit here and try to get you to tell the world where you want to play college football college baseball. But tell me this, I'm going to figure out the right way to put this. So far, how is the experience? Are you just soaking it all in and trying to enjoy it, or is it starting to become normal now to you to where a little bit of the wow factor is gone?
It's more starting to come normal because, me going and see other places and, travel the world on visits that I'm going on is, it's a crazy experience for me, but at the same time, I'm just staying calm and acting like I've been there before, really.
Because you have.
Yes, sir.
And that's That's the thing, Bud, is no matter what it is, everything becomes normalized after you've done it a few times, right? So to other people, it might be, oh my gosh, that's awesome. But to you, it's like, I've been there and done that. So it's not as awesome anymore. So that's the one thing I'll tell you, the same thing I tell Brody, who's going through it right now on the football deal, and Brock or any of these boys that are behind them, behind you guys, do enjoy every moment, because that's one thing I used to do when I was playing. I would walk around the field and drink a cup of coffee before every game. I was a big, stiff, slow white guy, so all that warming up stuff wasn't doing me no good. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll stretch when it's time for warm ups. All those other guys out there getting all sweaty and playing a game before the game, I wasn't into that. So I would walk around, drink a cup of coffee, and I would just look at the stadium. And I was in a lot of them and played in a lot of games, but I realized towards the end of my career, man, I've normalized this. Like, I've normalized being a pro football player, what I dreamed of as a little kid. So the back end of my career, I would walk, and plus players look at you when you're just drinking coffee while they're warming up, and they're like, this freaking crazy redneck, oh my God, I don't have to deal with him all night long, and you got to deal with me all of a sudden. But my point is, I made it a habit to enjoy the moment and be thankful to God in those times. So I would encourage you to do that when you're young, but it's hard, man. It's hard when you're in the middle of it. So right now, tell me a little bit about baseball. Is SEC baseball the best too, or is there another SEC baseball the best?
SEC baseball is the best.
So how often do kids just go straight pro? So now this is going to be the educate me on baseball part of the podcast, because football you got to spend 3 years out of high school before you can even try to go pro.
Nah, you can go straight out of high school, but it's rare. It's normally like top 10 kids in the country get spread around the first and second round of the draft, and then
Is that high school kids?
Mm-hmm, yes sir. So that's why the rankings are big, kind of, but also you need to get exposure on the aspect of wanting to get drafted out of high school, which that's one thing that my dad has done well with, I'd say, is he's helped me get exposure a lot, and by playing with big name kids that are top 10 in the country, it's pushed me to get better. That way I can have a chance to get drafted out of high school. So
right now, you want to go to college? If you had to say right now?
Yes, sir.
You want to go to college? I love it. Do you want to go to college and finish college, or you just want to go to college? You're 16. You don't have to decide the rest of your life. But right now, perfect story for your baseball career. What's it look like?
I would say going and playing 2 or 3 years in college and boost my draft stock.
So whenever the draft stock is something you like, you leave. Whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whenever it gets to a point. And I'm assuming like most professional athletes, that's first, second round, you're out.
Yes,
so if it's first round after year 1, you're out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Well, let's go down this part. So everybody in the world, never speak in absolutes. Do you know what that means?
Somewhat.
Never say never and never say always. Somebody told me that one time. So I shouldn't say everybody in the world, because that's not true. But the majority of people in the world, they look at a kid like you and their immediate thought is, man, if I just had that talent. Or, man, I would work so much harder if I was him. You know, my mom will tell you, sitting in the stands at Powell High School back in 2005, you know, the dad's in the stands. What a waste of God-given talent. Well, if my kid had that, or man, if I would have had that. And it's like, yeah, man, I understand why you would think that. But at the end of the day, there's a whole another, can of worms over here when you're in that position, especially as a kid. So with the exception of, going down to Cobb County and getting to see, which we don't get to do that as football players. Mm-hmm. Knoxville football players don't get to see what dudes in Atlanta look like, right? Whereas you do. So not to mention you're competing with the rest of the world, which football's not competing with. There's a bunch of kids in the Dominican right now that are going to be playing pro baseball with you. There's none of them going to be playing pro football, mm-hmm. Unless they're a kicker or something. But my point is, when you're in the position you're in, just talk to me a little bit about, because this is what me and your pops were talking about the other day. Me and your dad can be on your ass, but you're still getting offers. You're still the best player on your team. You're still accomplishing all these things that therefore you feel like, this is the perfect example I'll give you. Kyler Murray. Sorry, I'm going back to football. You know Kyler Murray?
Of course.
So you got $43 million a year, right? Then they want to put in his contract that he needs to watch more film. See what I'm saying? So everybody in the world is like, oh my God, he's a quarterback in the NFL and he doesn't watch any more film. And it's like, you just gave the man $43 million a year for not watching film. So why would he change?
Yeah.
Why would he change? Everything he's ever wanted, he's been the best high school football player in the country. He's been the best college football player in the country. And now he just got a $43 million a year contract. His ass don't watch film. That's him. So everybody always has their opinion on what Mikee Teasley should do, what this kid should do. So when it comes to you and you grinding, because you work your ass off when you're in here, but you're still a kid. So how do you balance knowing that you're still getting all these things, but you have to make sure that you outwork everybody as well, and especially with your dad on your butt, 'cause he wants you to do so good, and he knows what your ceiling is. And same thing with me at home with my boys. So talk to me a little bit. I know I just talked a lot, but talk to me a little bit about just being a kid that has the talent you have, and the people that love you want to watch you succeed. The majority of people want to watch you fail, and everybody's talking about you. So in those moments, how do you stay centered, and how do you not be an asshole and think you're better than everybody else, and how do you keep working? So explain to me, was it the way your dad raised you? Do you feel like, when you go down to Atlanta, and we were talking about Dexter a minute ago, who's at Buford, who's a freakazoid.
Yeah.
How do you keep working, and how do you ignore all the noise and all the pressure of staying the best, which is why I feel bad for a lot of these 8-year-old heroes, because all of a sudden, they have a mustache at 10 years old and don't grow anymore, and then everybody passes them, and now they're on the bench when everybody was telling them they were going to be a pro when they were in Little League. Whereas you, it just keeps every year, it's like the ceiling gets higher, the ceiling gets higher. So how do you deal with that? What do you think is the best thing about it? What do you think is something that maybe people might not understand living in your skin? Because like I said, it's a gift from God. Not everybody gets to be a top 20, 30, 40, 50 baseball player in the country. So talk to me a little bit about how you handle that, and also just give everybody that watches this, which probably not very many people besides our friends and family, but just what is something about it that maybe people don't understand and that they don't really realize, especially when you're 16 years old?
I would say, okay, my dad also raised me like that, to not think that you were greater than everybody else, and just stay nobody's better than you. And he always refers to Kobe, how Kobe would go and act like he was the worst player on the court, but he would always be the best player on the court. So my dad he's always gave me that mindset. And then on top of that.
Can I interrupt you real quick? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Kobe never acted like he was the worst player on the court. He worked like he was the worst player on the court.
Yeah.
You see the difference?
Yes, sir.
Kobe acted like he was the best player in the world. He'd tell you he was the best player in the world. But he worked like he wasn't. You don't ever need to act like you ain't a dog.
Yeah.
Because that's not real. That's not being genuine. Do you think you're the best?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't be an asshole, but you don't ever have to act like you're the worst. And I know your dad didn't raise you that way either. You just said it wrong. Oak Ridge education. Come on, Oak Ridge.
But also, I've always just wanted to push myself as hard as I could, because when I was younger, and this is the reason why my dad's so hard on me, when I was 8, going into my 8U summer, my coach at the time told me I wasn't good enough, and he cut me from the team. So then my dad used that as motivation, and he wanted me to see it as motivation to get better. And ever since then, I've just rose to every occasion and proven myself, really.
It's like the Michael Jordan story. It's the best thing that ever happened to you.
Yes, sir.
I love when people tell me I can't do something. Please, hit me with it again. Just hit me with it again. I love that. So when you talk about that, now let's get to the real stuff. All right. Something tells me you ain't got any trouble getting a girlfriend over at Oak Ridge or anywhere else in this town now that TikTok and InstaFace and all the whatever things you all are on. Access to all the ladies. You're a good-looking kid. You're highly recruited. So how do you keep your head on straight when you know what your future looks like and you have all these people, all these girls, drugs, sex, all the things in high school that are literally tempting you all the time, and your flesh is a powerful thing, which is another part of the deal that maybe some people might not understand. But with everyone after you and everyone wanting a piece of you, how do you stay? And not that you're perfect, and never will be, by the way. But how do you stay? And maybe you don't. Maybe you look at me right now and say, "Man, I'm struggling right now," or "Man, I need some advice," or "I need prayer," or "I." But how do you feel like being in the position you are, that you can keep your head on straight consistently until you accomplish what you want to accomplish?
I would say that I have my certain friends that I like. My dad taught me to read the room. So, like, if it's something that I don't want to do or anything like that, or something I don't want to be a part of, I would always be distant from it. And that's why I pick certain friends to be around. And there will be certain people that I know I can trust and I know that won't do those things that I can always go to. So, I mean, really, I just use them as something I can use to get away from everything bad.
I love it. I love it. Jeremy Parrott, basketball, you know who that is? Basketball coach at Bearden?
Nope.
My guy. So we had a little issue with Brody during basketball season last year. He's a young kid. And so we sat down with Coach Parrott, and he told Brody, he said, "Listen, man, when you lay with dogs, you get fleas." And I've never heard that one-liner before, and I will use it until the day I die. When the people you surround yourself with is typically how you're going to act. When you're a grown man, the 5 people you spend the most time with are typically going to be close to you in salary. They're going to have typical similar marriages. They're going to have similar views of the world. And it's the same way when you're a kid, and that's one thing that you kids don't see sometimes. And the fact that your dad has been pounding that into your head is awesome. But just remember this: some of the people that you think that are your friends are there because they want to be Mikee Teasley's friend. So always be very, very careful who you trust, my man.
Sir.
Because you can offer them things that they can't offer you, and that's a relationship that makes you very vulnerable. And with these cell phones and cameras, and you say one thing with your homeboys or whatever that you think have your back, and next thing you know, no one knows their name, and you're all over Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. So don't be a dumbass. Is pretty much what I'm saying.
Sir.
Good luck with that, by the way. Nowadays, good Lord, thank God there weren't phones when I was growing up. All right, so here we go. We'll send this clip to your dad. All right. To all, you're how old?
16.
What year were you born?
2008.
Somebody told me the other day you were born in the 1900s, and it's the first time I've ever been like, man, it's getting to the point to where like I'm getting up there. All right. But my point here's what I want. This is the real part. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
To all the dads out there, we'll send this clip to your pops.
All right.
To all the dads out there, myself included, that are frustrated that their 16-year-old sons with talent won't do right. First off, I want you to know how blessed you are. Sorry, I've been hitting the head a lot, and I might or might not have ADD. Something tells me I probably do. Ask my wife. You're very blessed to have your pops, man. Not, our no athlete left behind kids here. You know some of them. Being at Oak Ridge is very diverse, so there's a lot of kids walking through the school, and it's like they don't have a father. That's why they don't know how to act. That's why they don't know how to be a man or a young man, a good young man. Think about what an idiot you are, and you have a dad. Imagine not having him at all.
Yes, sir.
So all these everything we've gone to today, and this is not saying anything negative about your mom. God designed women very differently than He designed man inside of a household. I don't know if you're supposed to say that anymore, but everybody can kiss my ass. That's what I believe in. All right? There's men and there's women for a reason. Do you realize? I just want to make sure you realize this. You realize that everything you've told me today of the way you handle your business is because of your father.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So you are really thankful for that, I hope, and
Yes, sir.
understand what a blessing that is from God. So now, talking about old pops, to all the dads out there, because we're all fighting the same battle, especially the ones that have kids that are pretty dang good at sports, and everybody kisses their ass everywhere they go. So the dads out there that are frustrated, just go ahead and give me your spiel. We'll get Brody on here next. We'll get some of the other 16-year-old studs in this town who are highly recruited kids, which is not very many of y'all in Knoxville. It's getting more and more. Obviously, a lot of folks are moving here, but there's not that many pro athletes that live here. There's not that many pro athletes from here. But some of you really talented kids, just tell me, are we just expecting too much because we know what your future looks like? are we just the hardest on you because we love you so much, which is obviously the truth. There's only one man. You ever heard this quote? There's only one man in your life that truly wants you to be better than he is. Mm. You heard that before?
Yes, sir.
That's your pops and your grandfather if he's still alive. But nobody is more passionate about you being the best version of Mikee Teasley than that man. So right now, give us your take, your hot take, your few seconds, because I'm sure you get tired of him being on your ass, even though you're thankful for it because you look back and realize all the times it pushed you forward. But why do you think it is at 16, 17, 18 that you guys have to go through this we got it figured out mode when every damn one of you are going to come back to us later and say, Dad, you were right? Why do you think that is? Do you think males just have to do that? What do you think the deal is with you boys at this age to give us dads a little bit of peace so we don't kill you?
I would say what it is to give out peace. I mean, with my dad, I know he says it out of love. So, like, and he's been doing that ever since I was young. So, I mean, I'm used to it now. But, like, at the same time, I just feel like I'm more motivated when he does get onto me. And that's just how the coaching style on the field, that's how I like when the coaching style is. It's like Coach Free over there at Oak Ridge. I look at him as also one of my dads because, like, he's the same way as my dad. And he never wants to see me fail, and he always is going to push me the hardest. So, I mean, it's all out of love at the end of the day, but at the same time, I mean, we're kids, so we feel like we need to be able to hang out with our friends and stuff like that and not work every day. So, I mean.
So, do you feel – I love that you said that because that's – I know I'm talking about Brody a lot because y'all are the same age. Mm-hmm. When your little brother's sitting on here with me one of these days, I'll be talking about Brock. Those two coming right behind y'all, Lord have mercy. They're a mess. Younger brothers are always a mess. Mm-hmm. But it's funny. The one thing Brody doesn't like is when a coach doesn't coach him hard. And it's like, well, I've been on his ass his whole life, you know. So it's like we're, and sometimes we might take it too far. I get it, but it allows you all to be pushed. But I don't need to hear all that. I don't need to hear all that. I need to hear why, which you just told me, because you think you just need to be a kid every once in a while. Is it that you think, because there's a lot of dads out there dealing with it, do you think in your brain, like, man, there's time to be all in later when I'm in college or when I'm in the league? Mm. Is that how your mind works? Yeah. Be honest. Yes, don't let me put words in your mouth now. This needs to be you.
Nah, it's like I feel like sometimes I feel like I've already made it. So, like, I'll slack off and I would rather hang out with my friends and go put in a workout or go hit or anything like that. So, I mean, I just feel myself too much most of the time.
So because you, once again, this is the stuff that people don't understand. And this is. I thank you for being honest, because most kids like that. That tells me right there you're gonna be successful because self-awareness is lacking in the world. But you already got your offers. You already like what else is there to accomplish?
I mean, we got higher goals, but at the end of the day, in our mind, it's like nothing. We already got offers, so we'd rather hang out and be the big fish in the little pond than go and just put in the work every day, I guess.
Hallelujah. At least you're honest. I love that. The one thing I will tell you is, and this is the way I look at it with all you guys, because you are kids, man. Like I've done this pro sports thing for a living. Like you got to be all in, because the minute you're not, it's game over. Because whoever is all in. So the one thing I'll tell you is, from me, as someone who loves you, and doesn't need anything from your ass. I just want to see you go freaking make 10 times the money I made and build a life for yourself. And if you want to open up a Triple F, or if you want to do a nonprofit, or whatever you want to do to serve the world and use God's gifts and blessings to make the world a better place. Baseball's your ticket. Right now, who knows what God has planned, but right now he's giving you a baseball gift. So let's go use that gift to glorify him. But don't just stop working. Right? I know you won't. I'll watch you in here. I'll watch you grind. So the thing you have to understand is there is kids out there that are outworking you. And you just don't want to be that 8-year-old who got passed up when you're 20. So sometimes it might feel like you've already gotten there, But in all reality, you're blinded because Knoxville, once again, is not baseball's different because you go travel and play with the real dudes. But you get my point. You're in Oak Ridge High School. You're the man. You're this. You're that. You walk in here, and there's not many other kids that are recruited and look like you. And just you have to do as much as possible while still being a kid and being you. But you can't. If you ever truly feel in your heart like, man, I need to do more. You got to do it, because the minute you accept doing less, thinking you've already arrived and you've made it, that's natural. It's hard not to feel that way when you're getting praise all the damn time like you are. But anytime you feel in your gut, Mikey, like, man, I should have worked, you have to immediately do it, because the minute you accept that, it'll get worse and worse and worse, and then you'll get past. Right now, you feel like you're good because you are. Because you still grind. You don't do as much as me and your dad would like for you to. But guess what? I get that. But at the same time, there's going to be a point to where it's like, I should have worked today. And you're going to feel that. And the next day, you have to work. Because you have to always, always, always know in your mind, like, when I should have done something, you got to do it. Because the minute you give yourself a break from working, it's going to become a habit. And you're going to give yourself another break. It's like giving yourself a break when you sin. Like, if you do something really bad and you feel horrible, there's probably going to be a pretty decent time gap before you do it again. But if you start saying, no, it's not that bad. No, it's not that bad. Then you all of a sudden are living in a life of sin. Does that make sense? It's the same thing with work in your baseball career. So I'll keep trying to have your back with your pops. All right, because I'm raising one that's a year older than you, so we're a year ahead of you in some of this stuff. I know baseball's different and it's all weird, but I'm gonna keep having your back. But you got to keep bringing your ass in here and working, because I can't keep having your back if all of a sudden you go off the reservation and think you've arrived completely, because you do know you haven't.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You know you haven't completely arrived. You ain't playing pro baseball yet. Then get Todd Helton in here. Let you pitch to him. We'll see if you've arrived or not. He's an old man.
All right.
He'll be hitting it over there. He'll be hitting it from Oak Ridge to Triple F with you pitching to him.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, act like I'm the worst player. Yeah, sounds good. We'll get Jan. Jan's fresh out.
All right.
We'll call Jan
All right.
instead of Todd. Todd's old man. I'll call Jan. We'll bring him over to Oak Ridge and let him hit a few in the. Where's the baseball field at Oak Ridge?
It's over there by like the Scarborough Center. So like, you know that Baskin Robbins?
I don't go over there enough.
It's like by Chick-fil-A. So you get to the light and you make a.
So if you hit a home run, does it go out in the main street?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there'll be all kinds of cars in danger if you're pitching to Jan.
I don't know about that.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll call him.
All right.
All right. Let's talk about Triple F. So, what's your favorite thing about Triple F?
I like that. Honestly, I get pushed harder in here than I would anywhere else, to be honest.
I love it. And that's the one thing I tell our coaches. And once again, I hope people don't take this the wrong way. But there's certain kids here that, they can't play dead in a Western movie. All right? So their confidence and swag walking in school and just getting them some playing time is the goal. Everybody we're trying to do the exact same thing for. We're trying to build you physically as an athlete, emotionally, and help you become a better player. That's what the end goal is. Some people's better player is just getting on the field. Some people's better player is getting in the starting lineup. Some people's better player is Power 5 and beyond. But what I tell my coaches is all the time, stay on our most elite kids the hardest. Period. End of story. We have to. Or we're doing you a disservice. Because you get your ass kissed most places you go, it ain't going to happen here. Now, we're going to love on you because we love you. And I'm going to tell you great when you do great, like I do all the other kids when they do great. But I'm glad. I'm glad that happens even when I'm not here. That means we're doing things the way it should be done for you kids with bright futures.
Sir.
So that you get pushed, give me something else. One other thing. Actually, who's your favorite coach? You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
Either you, Coach Rich, or Coach Jack.
You can't name 3 people. Pick a favorite coach.
Coach Rich.
Coach Rich?
Yep.
I love it. That doesn't surprise me with you. And he's probably on you hard too, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Rich is the best. He's the best in this town for sure. Nobody can touch him. I can't. I'm not as good of a coach as he is. That's awesome. All right, now let's get to the nitty-gritty.
All right.
This is the uncomfortable part. How's your faith life?
I would say not as good as it should be.
Do you beat yourself up about that?
Yeah. I mean, I pray every night, but I just feel like I could go into church way more than I do.
So this is 100%. So this is something that somebody told me the other day that made a lot of sense to me. So as athletes, everything's production based. What's your what's a pitcher on base percentage?
Pitcher?
Yeah, your hits allowed or whatever.
Yeah, hits per 9.
So how many home runs did you hit? What's your batting average? How many errors did you have on the season? Like, what's your ranking? Because you're going down to Georgia and hitting these showcases, and everything's production. Like production. Raise the bar. I need to accomplish this. And that's what it has to be, because you're always compared against other people. It's always going to be production based. And if someone's producing more than you, then you're fired and you go bye-bye, and they don't send you a care package and tell you thank you. It's just over. Mm-hmm. So then we do that in our faith life. And it's like, what's the one thing you just said? The one area you're not producing is the church.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing I will tell you is get your butt in church. Obviously, there's no better place. It's hard to walk out of the church and go sin, but by Wednesday it gets a little easier, right? So obviously church is built the way it's built for a reason. But just spend time with God, man. It doesn't have to be church, and don't keep score. We keep score. So the minute you don't do something in your little scorecard, then you're like, dang, let God down again. No, that ain't how God works. Mm-hmm. God don't work with a scorecard. And so when someone put it to me like that, I'm like, man, that just changed my life. Because my whole life, it's, all right, every morning at 6 a.m. I'm going to read my Bible. Check. All of a sudden I hit snooze. Now I'm a little bit late. I don't read my Bible. I beat myself up. Because if I missed that workout, or if I dropped that ball, or if I didn't do this, if I didn't do that in my football life, that meant I was going to get fired, or I was going to have to worry about getting fired, or I wasn't going to get the money I wanted, or whatever. But your faith life is not that way. Like, God is pretty cool how we don't have to produce all the time and do every little thing right. So, like I say, at Bible study sometimes, find a couple boys, because you know how a locker room can become, especially when you're a teenage idiot. And these are teenage girls, precious little girls. I have a teenage daughter at home. I don't have to kill anybody at Oak Ridge. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So once all you boys get together and everything starts down that rabbit hole, it doesn't stop. So maybe pick a few of your boys on the team that are the other leaders. Lord help me. Maybe just, hey, every day let's send each other a Bible verse. And then that way you're getting that Jesus, because that's what it is. It's not a scorecard. It's just being with Jesus every day, some kind of way. Because when you keep score, you're going to fail. There's no way we can win that Jesus game. It's impossible. That's why he had to hang on the cross. The sports stuff, some of us are better than most people. Some of us make it to the league. Some of us this, some of us that, whatever. There's a way to keep score. The Jesus thing, you can't keep score, Mikey, or you're going to drive yourself nuts for a long time. So there's my advice to you for the day.
Yes, sir.
Don't be a dummy. More than you naturally will be as a teenage boy who's got the world by the horns. Those times that you feel like, man, I should have worked, you got to go. You got to go work. You have to, because you can't make that a habit, and it's easy to make that a habit because that's just natural for human beings. Thank God for your dad. Coach Free, shout out to Coach Free at Oak Ridge. I'm sure he's not liked by many. That's the way it goes when you win and kids move in from other towns, and then everybody wants to, I hear it all. I'm like, good Lord. How about this, coaches in Knoxville? Build a program that kids want to come play for. Mm-hmm. How about that? Instead of crying about the places they're leaving, how about you just build something awesome? And then kids will want to play for you. And then everybody will be bitching about you.
That's one thing that I love about Coach Free. Because, when Coach Free came to the program, it was like Oak Ridge baseball was terrible. But now he's built it up so much where everybody wants to come play with us and play with the team we have now and just be part of the family.
Yeah, it's like Farragut.
Mm-hmm.
Farragut ain't down here recruiting kids. I don't even know their baseball coach's name. I probably should. He's obviously a pretty good coach, and he's won a lot of games. I hear his name all the time, but he won't let me have any of his kids, so I've never met him.
He just retired.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? He ain't out here recruiting kids. people just want to play Farragut baseball, just like Coach Freed at Oak Ridge. So I get tired of listening to everybody cry, man. Like, there's certain dudes that do things the wrong way. I get it, and there's a right and a wrong way to do things. But at the end of the day, if your kids want to leave, like, it's like my wife. If I treat her great and love her and adore her, she probably want to hang around my ass. If I don't have something awesome, and Billy Bob over there has a much better life for her, she might start getting a little twinkle in her eye for Billy Bob. And I would whip Billy Bob's ass, and it's just all going to be bad, Mikey. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But that's my point, man. Is like, Coach Free is building something awesome, and I'm fired up for him. He's a good man. His boys are down here. I'm fired up for y'all. Very coach retired, huh? Mm-hmm. Ooh, is it now y'all's chance?
Yeah. I say we have a pretty good chance this year. I mean, we only lost one player last year, and we have the same team coming back from last year when we made our state run.
Because y'all got to beat them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To win the region.
So what are y'all, 6A? How many classifications are there in baseball?
4A.
There's only 4?
Yeah, there's only 4.
I heard Oak Ridge football's bumping up next year.
6A.
Coach Gaddis, those guys over there got to – I think – because Brody's at Maryville now, and Brock will be at Maryville, so I guess they're trying to decide if Oak Ridge or Maryville goes to, like, the Jeff County and all that region. So,
yeah.
Who knows? I'd say Maryville wants to stay put, and Oak Ridge probably doesn't carry the way.
Nah, I'd say they want to travel.
They want to travel?
Yeah, I'd say they would want to.
Yeah. Well, that makes the most sense then. Instead of moving Maryville that's been there all that time, let Oak Ridge join that crew. That side's not as good either. So Oak Ridge would be where I'm out. Good for Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge football. My man Jared Bafford, give him a shout. My guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Beauty. He's a beauty. All right, Mikey, I love you, buddy. I'm proud of you.
Me too.
I'm in your corner forever. Anything you ever need, call me. Keep being you. Don't beat yourself up for the scorecard on the Jesus thing, but also understand that when God gives you a gift, there's a responsibility that comes with that. Go home and give your dad a big hug. Give him a kiss on the forehead. Say, sorry, man. I got to be a kid sometimes, but I got you. Just make sure he knows that you're always in the back of his he's always in the back of your mind. Like, his voice is what prevents you from going where he's terrified you're going to go. Just tell him that, and maybe he won't kill you. All right. And be good to your little brother. And just be good, man. Be good to people. Treat people the right way, because God made you special. Made you special with the gift he gave you, so try to brighten people's day with it.
Yes, sir. But there's, like, the reason. So there's something that everybody doesn't know is, like, the reason why I've pushed myself so hard. It wasn't only because I got cut, but it was also because my little brother, because of how big he is, he would always get bullied. So it would motivate me to do something great that he would have something to look up to and talk back on, and be like, when everybody tries to mess with him, then they really can't. So he can make his way for it.
Chill bump moment, my friend. Yeah. When you have a heart for – now, listen, there's nothing like siblings. When you have a heart for other people, it makes you invincible. It does, brother. Like, I don't care how hard you want to work for yourself. When it's about other people, it puts you in a whole nother land. That's I watch you. I ain't worried about you one bit, my friend. Not one bit. You're going to be a 16-year-old, and you got to be a kid while you can be a kid, because when it's time to go, it's time to go. But your brother is literally, well, you did it. Because when he walks in here, he is the happiest kid. He is the most positive kid. He impacts others, and he is proud of Big Bro. Like, him and Brock get together all the time talking about you and Brody. And it's pretty cool, man, because at the end of the day, people in town know that's Mikey and Brody's little brothers. And that is what it is. And nobody can ever take that from them, and nobody wants to see y'all succeed more than those two little jokers do. And that makes me smile, and that makes my heart happy, because I love both them little guys. And who knows? They might be better than you and Brody one day.
Exactly. That's what I hope
Hopefully. We'll see. But right now, they're younger, and they got two pretty cool big brothers to look up to who got big hearts and love them. So we'll put that out. We'll put that out. Anybody messes with my dog, they can come through all of us.
Exactly.
He's our family now too.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Love you, man.
Yes, sir. Love you too.